Welcome to the Radio Rejekts podcast. My name is Lou. As always, to my right is
Sab.
Just Sab?
Just Sab today.
Just Sab today.
Yeah.
And we always like to let our guests introduce themselves. So on that camera right there, just go ahead and say, obviously, what you go by, your profession, and why you're here at the podcast.
Well, first off, guys, thank you guys for having me here. It's an honor. I'm very excited. Hi, everybody. My name is Andy. I am a professional realtor from the Quad City area.
Okay. Now, that's not the only thing. Obviously, we're going to dive pretty deep into everything. Can you give me, let me talk to you about the beginning of 2019. So obviously, we're in the new year. It's 2020. We have a lot of like ambition and passion for this new year. But let's kind of rewind it and let's go from like this date last year.
In order for it to make sense,
Okay.
I should start probably September of 2018.
Okay, we could do that.
My dad got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That's when my life just kind of got turned upside down. I just graduated. I had a corporate internship. Unfortunately, though, that was one of those internships that you needed to develop a book of business, and I didn't have a lot of money at the time. So I converted into the union. I became a union man, started making money. I helped my dad pay rent, groceries. We were taking care of my grandma as well. Unfortunately, his health kept deteriorating, and that's where January happened. I started collecting unemployment, saw my dad's last days, passed away January 16th, and that's where all the chaos kind of started. Immediately, I had to move out of my dad's apartment. I had to kind of station myself here in Joliet. Travel to Chile, liquidate assets, bring the assets over in regards to capital. And that's when I decided to, you know what, I'm going to reinvest this money. I'm really going to build something out of it. It's going to really be a supplement to what I have to do. Moved to the Quad Cities, started reinvesting, got 3 properties, immediately connected with my team lead because originally when I got there, my dad already had like somewhat of a team established. However, they were undermining me. It was, I don't know if it was my age or what, but the realtor, the attorney, everybody that I was working with, I didn't feel like I had a really good level of professionalism on their end. So I ended up I stopped working with all of them. I called Rich Bassford, who is now my team lead, and he actually had my house sold 4 or 5 days after that. Wow. I told him that, you know what, I'm getting my real estate license. I kind of just wanted to do it based off, me being an investor. I figured it would be something beneficial to have under my belt. And he immediately told me, he's like, you know what, man, I have this team that I just recently got started. I'd be more than happy to have you join the team. And it was an extreme honor for me because he's never taken someone off pre-licensing. Yeah. Never. So for him, it was a risk because there's only 5 of us under the team. So he took me, this, new guy that, in an industry where 2 out of 10 realtors make it past their first year. Yeah. So he's taking a risk on me. I started diving into real estate. I acquired a rental, started fixing up my own house. There's just so much that's happened within the last year, man, that honestly, there's not enough I can cover.
Yeah. So let's kind of jump back to that. Your father, from my understanding, was in the same business?
My dad had his own business. He was an entrepreneur as well, but he had a water purification company. It wasn't a lot. I had to dissolve it 2 months after his passing. I dissolved his business just because I didn't want it to connect me in any kind of way with my properties and the money I had coming over. A lot of this shit I freestyle, man. Yeah. Like if one thing came out of 2019 is there's 2 things I'm scared of. One, getting someone pregnant on accident, and 2, the IRS getting me pregnant. Yeah. And I mean that, man. I've been tax conscious from the start just because I've been selling cars, I've been selling houses, I've been bringing over foreign account money. It's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like the IRS is going to see 2018 broke ISU college student that barely cracked like $15,000 to what I have now. Right. So it's like, I'm terrified.
Yeah, that's a huge jump.
But I've already connected with Rich's CPA. Yeah. We've had the conversations we needed to have, and I feel good going into it. Like I feel like hopefully I don't get fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a scary thing because it's something that not only is it you're learning something new in this new path of like a career, even if it's something that is a learning step to something ultimately bigger, it's still that's brand new. And then your father passing and trying to deal with all those things that are brand new too as well, like the whole thing of like liquidating all all those things are completely like they're bizarre. They're like surreal to other. Obviously you're dealing with the emotions and everything like that too as well. Can you explain how Rich is the gentleman that helped you out? Like, how has that been such an impact on your life in this last year? Just him alone helping you out. Obviously, you're going through things emotionally, financially, everything like that, and it seems like he's still kind of willing to like help you out a little bit.
Well, here's something I like to clarify. I mean, if anybody that's known me from the past, I've always been extremely driven.
Mm-hmm.
This is just something that, I mean, if I had to explain 2019 was the shit. The bullshit that I just had to get through. You know what I mean? Like I just had to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's helped elevate me and expedite the process to me being successful. But in the back of my head, I always knew I was going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So Rich is another factor that's helped expedite that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That just, obviously he's a key figure in my life at this point, just because he's taken a risk and he's implemented me into his team. And that alone has helped make me the professional realtor that I am compared to someone else freshly getting started. But just, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for him, but I'm also grateful for a lot of other things. I'm grateful for SSAB.
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful for certain people that checked up on me. It's like, there's nothing but gratitude.
Yeah. Now, what exactly turned you to real estate?
That's a good question, man. One of my mentors asked me that, and he's just like, you know what? Why are you doing real estate? And I'm like, because I think I'm good at it. I think I'll be good at it. He's like, no, but why? Think about it. Why? And then I came back a week later with an answer that I love it. Like, I love being genuine. I love actually building trustworthy relationships where it's more than just me kind of trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is big.
Right.
Like, I get to help people on a regular basis kind of not only establish and reach the next chapter in life, which is very exciting, but I become their guy, you know? So 4 or 5 years later, when they want to relocate again, they know they can trust me.
Mm-hmm.
They know that I'm going to help them in the best of my abilities, and I'm going to represent them as if I were representing myself.
Yeah.
So I just like it's a great opportunity for me to kind of exercise the characteristics that I need to just reach the next step in life, man. I'm going to be successful in real estate, but I know my calling is just something bigger that I just don't understand yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, exactly, like, do you have like a moment where, or like a day or like a certain like time in which you were like, this is what I want to do? Were you looking for a home? Were you like you were talking to somebody that just happened to be doing it? It was a
freestyle, man. Like I said, I got my real estate license mainly just because I thought it would complement my investor side of it. But when I came back from Chile, I was full blown ready to just invest in properties, flip them, you know, do that. I was just gonna do that.
Yeah.
But then by meeting Rich, I had more of a safe kind of plan, you know, where not only could I make money in this, but I could also network with contractors. And I have investors that I've showed properties to that, you know what, I go with a clipboard and I say, all right, how do you do this? So it's given me the opportunity to not necessarily jump in and just freestyle it, but learn in the right way to the point where now I have that capital, and whenever there's a good opportunity, I'm going to know it's a good opportunity. So I'm not wasting anything. Okay. So it's definitely helped me in that sense.
Now, as far as for like the investment portion of it, like that drive that you have for the investment, was it prior to kind of like inheriting this cash flow that you may have had from your father's passing, or was that afterwards you kind of said, I need to do something better with this?
I've never believed in just sitting on money.
Mm-hmm.
Money devaluizes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're not moving it, you're not doing anything. It's just sitting. So I knew right away when I acquired all the capital, it's like, all right, what? I need to dive in. I need to start doing this. And that's where I acquired my rental. That's where I acquired one of the properties that Rich ended up wholesaling. And that's where I actually acquired the property that I just finished up myself, and it was my first big remodel project.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like got to see that in your story. That's the thing I kind of like too as well, is that you're very active on your stories. So I can kind of see like what exactly your process of it. You know, I can always see, like, I know that I'm going to get Andy smiling, you know, like going through the motions, showing you a house on your story. You're utilizing that social media more and more than the norm. I guess like from my point of view is I like to follow individuals because obviously in the social media you're always gaining followers, gaining followers. But I do also like to subscribe to individuals that are using those platforms at the highest, like the max potential, I guess.
Why
And so,
wouldn't you?
Right.
Like,
but you can understand why somebody wouldn't.
yeah, absolutely, man. You have to. You just, especially for someone that, at any point, if you're developing a brand,
Yeah.
it's like social media is everything now, and it's free.
Right.
And why? That's what I before we got on the podcast. That's why we're trying to kind of encourage everybody else, all of the realtors, to kind of push for this as well, because it's free.
Yeah.
It's free. We're not in the 1990s or the early 2000s anymore, where you had to spend all this money to reach this many people. Now you do a podcast and your reach is limitless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone shares it here, someone shares it in California. It's limitless.
Or it allows you to, with the tags, with like the hashtags or whatever it is, you're connecting with people that are in different states or whatever, conferences that you go to, all these things that you're utilizing that seems like you're capitalizing on it.
It's a key moment, man. It's
Yeah.
like you have to. Gary Vee talks about it all the time, and it's you just have to. It's like if it's not part of your plan, you're gonna fail.
Right.
I'm that confident, and I know it's that important.
Now, what do you find the most success from right now? Is it like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
Facebook. I mean, Facebook's where Facebook and Instagram, I'm juggling them. I do some of my automated marketing. I outsource it, and I get coached through it a little bit, but my Instagram's just purely mine. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Where do you find the most success from, I guess? Or where do you a two-part question would be, where do you find the most success? Like, which platform do you personally find within your career path right now? And then also, where do you personally shine the most on? Where do you feel you're most like kind of active on?
So jumping into this, a couple months ago when I started real estate, I made a decision to just convert, to be not solely real estate, but that's kind of like the prime source of why I'm doing everything.
Okay.
So for example, Instagram is like my hybrid page. Instagram, I like to show, my open houses, and I like to try to get creative. But at the same time, if you see my actual page, other than my like professional mugshot, you're gonna see my relevant life. Me traveling. I even have one with like a champagne bottle.
Yeah.
It's like, I want people to know that I'm human. I want people to know that I'm genuine. I'm not just shoving real estate down your throat.
Right.
I'm a realtor, yes, and I like to take it very serious, but I'm still young and I like to have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's no reason why you can't do both of those in a social media platform if that's really what you're doing. And for Facebook, I mean, Facebook's just a whole nother monster on its own. Like Facebook, I have my business page where I'm constantly trying to get people in there because my business page is strictly real estate.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. If people want to know what I have going on in real estate, they need to know where to go. And I've just been focusing on engagement, man. I mean, this is going to take time. There's a strategy to it. Just little by little, you just got to become more and more relevant.
Yeah. Now, do you you spoke on being a realtor being more of like a safer source of income, I guess, compared to like the flipping houses and those things that may be more at risk. Would you consider that? It's not necessarily safe, but it is a legitimate source where it's like you can kind of determine.
Yeah. There's more. It's less volatile. I mean, obviously, with me, if I were to dive in as an investor, I'd have to fuck up a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes, especially me doing it by myself. So just becoming a realtor kind of provided me the opportunity to not only maintain into like the career path that I kind of envisioned coming out of school, but it kind of connected both of them.
Yeah.
It was just perfect, man. Like, I'm so grateful that the universe has been able to just kind of give me these signs and these opportunities, and I've just taken the initiative to do it.
Okay.
That's just simply what I've done.
Now, when I want to step in a little bit because I feel like when you're doing a part of the industry where you're flipping things or you're more in the sales and stuff like that, you get that intuition feeling. I'm curious to, like how you're saying earlier, I was freestyling a lot of things. I'm doing a lot of this. What kind of kept you going, at least the point that you are now? Like, you had to have a clear head vision, you know what I mean, at some point, right? So when you're going through these steps, like was it an intuition feeling? Did you have, it didn't seem like you had a good support circle to bounce perspective off. So leading through these things, it felt like you were kind of the underdog on your own a little bit. what led you through each decision that you made? Was it a gut feeling? You're a good researcher too. Even when we'd have conversations, you'd come back with research a little bit and be like, or you provide source or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to talk about more of the times that you were on your own and you were weighing out your options. What were your methods through these things?
Thing is, man, this is something I'm honestly grateful for, but I've been alone my whole life. Like, I've been a lone wolf my whole life. I've moved constantly.
Yeah.
I never had parents per se, you know what I mean? So I have that kind of mindset galvanized in me that, all right, well, I don't waste energy on dwelling on not having anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step, so I'm already clear-headed you're right, to figure it out, to figure out the answers, or to just dive in. And there's been a lot of times that I dive in with knowing that I'm going to fuck up, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm diving in.
Mm-hmm.
So where, as far as like the rest of the year, where do you find after that? Like, aside from real estate, what other things were you working on in 2019 that you kind of see that are coming into?
Legality stuff, just educating myself.
Yeah.
Personally, we all go through our own battles, our own self battles. Pain is pain. But personally, I think 2019 was the year that I really kind of was able to realize my strength to the point of 2020 having a plan. And I have a key word for 2020: impact. Like, that's all it's going to be about. Just action. I'm tired of the sadness. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of the depressing shit. Like, that's what 2019 was. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
And 2020 is going to be nothing but just action.
So now, piggybacking off of that, do you have certain things that you're kind of, aside from real estate, that you're excited to kind of venture into?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of things. I want to start jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is a really cool art. It's very tranquil. I mean, I want to get better at it. Jiu-jitsu, there's this guy that's actually from Crest Hill area. He has like electric, he generates electric charging stations.
Okay.
And he's been kind of putting him all over kind of northwest suburbs and whatnot. And he actually reached out because he saw my LinkedIn and he saw I relocated to the Quad Cities. And coincidentally, the Quad Cities is something that he's been trying to tap into, just because it connects the highways from Des Moines to Chicago, and you got to pass it. So it's a good hub. So I've been connecting with him on getting something implemented where we're going to get a couple charging stations and see how that works. I mean, that's honestly just like a roll. I'm rolling the dice on it.
There's still some little dashes of freestyle everywhere.
Now,
dude. Yeah. Like, I've lost money to Bitcoin. I fucked up a lot.
How does that work with your idea that are you looking to set up, like, it'd be a gas station, but it's full of charging stations, or it's like a parking meter? So, you know what I mean? Like, how much, what's the space? What's it going to look like?
So, I mean, the way he's explained it to me, and it's I have one or two options. Either I can get one that's like a standing one that you can just put in like a parking lot, or I can put a bunch of kind of just wall-mounted ones in a parking lot. But if I put it in a parking lot, I have to kind of negotiate a split with whoever owns that lot or whatnot, and that's just something I haven't really dove into.
Okay.
Right now, I'm kind of in the point of researching and figuring out what the fuck am I investing in. Like, I don't know anything about ampage or, some of the innovative technology that goes with this. So it's like, I'm diving in, I'm freestyling, I am, but I'm also doing a lot of my research, and I'm treading cautiously with certain things, because I also don't want to just throw money at something that just is going to be worthless.
With an idea like that, have you looked into the auto industry of, like, are we moving as a world to more energy cars versus like gasoline cars? You know what I mean?
Point blank simple. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, we have no choice.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen next year, it's going to happen the year after that, or if it doesn't happen the year after that, it's inevitable. It's like gasoline is a non-renewable resource.
Right.
Like, and climate change is a very real thing, but yeah, I'm not going to dive into that.
I think it's a good venture, honestly.
It is. I mean, well,
it's going to happen. That's why I see the vision. That's why I'm so excited about it, because it's inevitable. I mean, obviously you don't see Teslas everywhere, electric cars everywhere right now.
It's coming. I mean, Ford just came out with their Mustang. That's it's not even a hybrid. It's full electric.
Yeah, dude, but that's for pussies. Like, you can't.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying you're seeing these major companies have their own electric car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're venturing in more. Nissan, like, all the big companies.
I would
have
buy
it
a
now.
Tesla truck, and it's gonna be like, it looks badass. You know what I mean? And it's affordable. It's like,
I don't know what I'd do with a Tesla truck, but I would take the Tesla, the Roadster.
See, the only bad thing about all of this is, and here's the problem, and this is the conversation I had with him. with the person I want to invest with,
Right.
it takes a long time to charge a car. So
Yeah.
so if you put the charging stations, you have to put it somewhere like a mall, somewhere
right.
where people are going to be just browsing for a while. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a gas station where you could just come in, fill up, and leave in like 10, not even 10 minutes, like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It could take
It's
hours.
not even like a 20-minute thing. Sometimes it could take 3-4 hours.
It could take hours.
Yeah.
So I mean that's another aspect of that.
But there is the technology for it. You see the charging pads for phones where it could charge your phone in like 3 minutes.
No, even with the charging stations, there's something called like a supercharger. And it charges your car, I think, in like 25 minutes or some shit like that. But realistically though, with my budget,
Yeah.
with my budget,
it's gonna be the 3 hours.
Well, you gonna wait.
You gonna wait.
You gonna wait.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, but that's also
Go get a
with-
haircut.
with everything else. We were just talking about how
Go
the
crazy.
phones, like how the phones are a completely different thing. Before you had to shoot with camcorders and these budgets and everything.
Right.
Over time, that technology will catch up. But I think like you coming at it smart was looking at it like, look, like I can dive into what it will be in 10, 15 years. Or I can assess the situation as it is right now,
Right.
because doesn't mean that this area or these individuals are going to be caught up to that. You know, like that, it has to be a wise investment at this moment.
There's pros and cons to being the first mover though, and I'm not saying I'm the first mover, but it's like I'm around there, you know, because not a lot of people see that vision, or not a lot of people are crazy about like, oh, you know, a charging station, next big thing. No,
Bro,
silly.
it's the least exciting things that have the biggest impact.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But I mean, even with like the state of Illinois, just kind of piggybacking off of the whole electric cars, how they raised the sticker prices for the license.
Everything
Like,
got raised, dude. There's
I
a
know,
double
but
tax
I
on
mean,
gas.
from cars to from like an automobile, like a regular car raised like $50 compared to an electric car was like, let's just say $40. Now it's $240. Rather than it was for 2 years for $40, now it's 1 year for like $200 and something. So like they've raised that up. So do you kind of like assess that into the equation too, as well as realizing like that may make people hesitant to get electric cars or to get these things that obviously will benefit your investment?
I'm cautiously freestyling it.
No, I mean that's something too. Is like it's a big thing, because immediately when I thought of that, I was like, I would ideally, even if it wasn't a Tesla, let's just say, you know, getting like an electric car because it's better for the environment, whatever it may be. Then you have certain states or cities like that may hinder your ability to continue that lifestyle.
Right.
I guess.
They want that whole market.
Yeah.
In other words.
As far as like for states too as well, just speaking of that, do you think about maybe if for realtor license, is that something that you can do in every single state?
You gotta get licensed for every state.
And
every state has different requirements.
Is there certain ones that maybe like a different state that you kind of want to?
I'm right on the border of Iowa and Illinois.
Now, can as far as speaking on what you're doing currently right now, where were we talking about like how this could be off camera? Were we talking about how you're like one of the only Latin realtors in your
was
area?
thinking about that
No,
in my
it
head.
doesn't have to be off camera. I mean,
No, I didn't know if the information was correct. That's why I said off
so
camera.
there's over 950 real estate agents and only a handful that are bilingual.
Okay.
And the Quad Cities is 380,000 people roughly. And there's a huge market for Hispanics, man. A huge market for Hispanics. So that's like, initially that was a niche I wanted to get into. But then after diving into it a little bit more, it demands a little bit more due diligence.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't really meet my average sales price that I would like to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. You know, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to level up, I'm trying to be successful. So now, as part of my business plan, it's a segment of my business that I'm gonna try to capitalize on more and more and get more involved in. However, it's not gonna be the main scope like I originally planned it to be.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was gonna swoop in and just all of a sudden the Hispanics were just
Untapped market and
Right.
just grab it all.
yeah, but that's not how it's gonna work.
Okay.
It's gonna be part of my business,
Okay.
but not to the point where that I expected.
So as far as your drive, I know obviously, like you said, it you know, it could be from various factors from your past as far as like how you grew up, but we were speaking on like books before this.
Right.
Do you have certain, like 2019, do you have a certain list of like things that you drew inspiration from, whether it's individuals or books that maybe you can kind of pass on to people that are watching you right now?
The Obstacle's the Way by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
That book, if you can just read it and commit yourself to reading it, it'll clear your perception. It'll give you the illusion that there isn't a perception. That's the
Okay.
best part.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the second you can kind of just filter that out, you can focus.
Yeah.
You can focus on what matters, what steps you need to take, and just get to work. I mean, that's pretty much it. I think here's the problem with just people, society, and everybody. Life isn't easy. You know what I mean? Life was never meant to be easy. Life isn't fair. It was never meant to be fair.
Yeah.
People fall into the entitlement trap where they victimize themselves because of what happens in their life. We can't control the circumstances that happen in our lives. So you kind of dwelling on it and being depressed on it, I look at it as a waste of energy, because essentially it is a waste of energy. It's important to kind of recognize those emotions, absolutely, but don't dwell on it. Just accept it for what it is and move forward. It's life.
Yeah, I think that's too. We were talking about this the other day, where there's like this sense of like the word privilege to individuals, like someone that, oh, this individual has, oh, their dad has, money or something like that, or they were just in the right school or whatever it may be. But at one point or another, someone in their family made that switch to give their family tree a different outlook, a different path. So like you yourself ultimately could be, swaying the family tree into something where it's like you're going to give your kids, and depending on if you want kids, obviously, a sense of privilege to someone else, but it's ultimately something that you did. So I get people kind of stray away. We were talking about how people have this negative view on that word.
Yeah.
But if I can give my son, if I can work and bust my ass, like I have a very average income, let's just say whatever it may be, but I can bust my ass and give my son or my, my kid or my family a different source of income to be able to say like, look, this is something to start your business with, or look, I put you in an area where you're going to have better education, or look, I'm reading books, so you should try to read these books, or whatever it may be, this sense of education, then yes, I'm okay with my son having a sense of privilege,
right?
Because I made the change to do that.
It's all level up, man. I mean, these people that become successful, it's a balance. It's not just about the money. It's not just about the appearance. It's love too. Like Jay-Z explains it best. Like he's not worried about his black daughters growing up in this world. Like they've asked him, like, are you worried of them kind of, being discriminated against, or in the United States that we live in today? And he's like, no, not at all, because they've provided their children with nothing but love and nothing but information, and that's where money comes in. With money, you can provide them with the information they need and the knowledge they need. For example, like first thing that came to mind, Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith had an extremely successful career. You know what I mean? So, but Jaden Smith is doing things differently. He's like another level up, where he's trying to focus on humanitarian, crisis. And I don't know him personally, so I don't really know if that's how he truly is. But from what he's been able to reflect, it looks like a level up.
Right.
And that's kind of the goal.
Right. I think the bad look on the word privilege comes from people that do have those resources available that don't do anything with it.
Good point.
You know what I mean? Like
No,
someone could look at like,
100%.
wow, you have all this in front of you, but you're not tapping into anything, or you're losing a sense of drive, which I think is an issue in itself too, because a lot of people that are handed a lot may not jump on opportunity like the average person would. You know what I mean? Or someone who has a little bit less, which is understandable too.
It's hard to take initiative, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I follow like a lot of like martial arts. That's why you said with jiu-jitsu. I was like, oh yeah, cool. Let's talk about it. But like for boxing, you see a lot of boxers say the same thing. Now, obviously that's a more physical and abusive toll on your life, but they'll say like, look, I've done all of that to obtain this wealth and success and this, this nice home, whatever it may be. I don't want my son having to go to, or my daughter having to fight. Let them go do something else.
Right.
So, I mean, as long as they give them that sense of drive and initiative to do something,
Right.
then I guess it's making use of what opportunity you have.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and it falls on accountability too.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets to a point where your parents or whatever the circumstances of your life that you've gotten given enough. All right, so what are you going to build on now? How are you going to supplement it now?
Right.
Yeah.
I believe I just like how I would want to continue my family tree in itself. I listened to a very important keynote while at school, but the speaker was just talking on ancestry. You know what I mean? Like, you are the greatest result of your ancestors. So it's like whatever you do next is just leading on that. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's what I like to envision for myself is like you stack something, and it's like everyone that comes your grandkids down, just add to it, add value to that lineage of blood, you know?
No, 100%.
Right. I mean, I don't really have much of a lineage, to be honest with you. So
Not
I'm
yet.
starting at zero.
You know what I mean?
yet,
You
bro.
don't.
No, but I'm
But
starting at
that's the
zero.
way.
So if I can start it up here,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
We don't even know where we're like from, to be honest. You may have had some.
That's true, but
Well-
now we can actually start documenting that. You know what I mean? It's like now
Yeah.
a kid 100 years from now that's a part of your family, or 300 years from now, is going to be able to see what his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather looked like.
I'll be honest with you. I don't trust Ancestry.com for shit.
No, I'm
No,
not saying
I'm talking about,
Ancestry.com, but I'm just saying, like, they could pull up your life profile. You know what I mean? Like,
from now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
yeah. Because
like if Facebook lives on, if Instagram lives on, all these things, it's like
I think about that all the time, man. Like, think about like the politics when we become, like, when we get into Congress.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, it's gonna be hard to find a politician that through college didn't smoke weed or didn't
Yeah.
do some stupid shit or
Right.
get caught breaking doors in college. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
it's gonna be hard. Like,
Or
I-
risky task, or tweets or texts or.
Yeah,
or-
I'm curious to how that plays out. Like, are we gonna become more just acceptable, or is he just gonna be out? Like, are we just gonna be looking for the perfect candidate?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
That's kind of why I like the fact that you even said, like, I want to come off as human before you get the chance to make that assumption of me
That
that I'm
judgment.
I
not.
mean, here's the thing, man. I'm a realtor, and my job is to sell houses and help clients and whatnot. But essentially, my business is building relationships.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how I will build a sustainable business.
Right.
And that doesn't happen without trust.
And also believing in what you're selling. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like what you're doing, you got to make sure you're putting yourself in your client's shoes to, am I getting a good deal with this guy?
The-
You know what I mean? Like,
I got to become the best.
yeah.
I just have to become the best. That's the best way I can help my clients, by
Yeah.
becoming the best.
No, but I like it though, because like remember like in the past where like let's just say you would find your on like Facebook whatever, you would find like your teacher's Facebook and you'd be
Lose
like,
your shit,
oh,
like-
oh my god,
my God,
she's
yeah.
over there. But like you are presenting it as like this is with now with social media and having more control, you're presenting them like this is what I want you to see. I'm not hiding anything. I am just like you. Before, like I just went through the home buying process. This is before I kind of knew of you, or else I would have went, through you. But I mean, that was something where like it is true. You have to build this relationship with someone, and it's hesitant at first because you're like meeting a complete stranger, and you're kind of like giving them essentially this big chance of investment in your life. It's a huge investment in your life, like
Right.
helping you pick something that you're going to stay with for a few years, a couple decades, whatever it is. So you kind of have to have this true sense of trust with this individual.
Right.
So your ability to be successful at that, it's not just when I see you and your profile and stuff, it's not that you're successful at selling houses. You're successful at building these relationships.
Right. I mean, no doubt it's a huge responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I need to continue educating myself. Like, I just started 6 months ago. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that I know all the answers or
Right.
whatnot. But like you said, I will research. I'll figure it out for my clients. Like, it's just, I'm excited about
But
it.
the way
man.
you hold yourself, man, it doesn't look like you've been doing it for 6 years. It looks like you've been doing this for like a decade.
I think
that's what comes with the team.
Yeah.
When you team up with the best realtor in your area, it's like that's what happens when
Yeah.
when he endorses you. Not only does that help your reputation, but it helps you internally as well with confidence. You know, so I've truly been able to expedite the process of what it is to be a realtor. Usually
Yeah.
the first year sucks.
Right.
It's shit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but trial and error, nothing but just rejections. But, you know, when I call somebody and I say, hey, I'm part of the Bassford team, it already gives me that reputation, that sense of quality because of that.
You recently showed me that you started coaching.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I started coaching on my old track team. We've been doing conditioning through the winter. So I haven't been like very social about it yet just because it's just conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited, man. That's one of those things that I knew I wanted to get involved in the community and volunteer. And I've implemented myself in the Hispanic market a little bit and whatnot. But coaching was something that was easy to get back to just because I have a great relationship with the head coach. He kind of knows what I've been through and what I can offer the kids. And essentially, you know, it gives me a good opportunity to learn as well. You know, I don't even know what I'll learn from being a coach, but I'm very happy for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what it made you kind of want to do that? It's like
I love track, man. I mean, I love track, and I know in high school, you know, kids are confused, and I want to be that influence. Like I want to be that young kind of cool coach that wants you to be better in track, but more importantly wants you to achieve whatever you need to achieve in life.
Right.
And there's plenty of times where kids join sports, you know, for reasons that they don't want to go home or they have some personal problems, and that's their outlet. And if I can be a factor within that outlet to help them that much more, that's great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it also helps real estate, you know, like networking.
Yeah.
I mean, parents. But it's primarily because I like it.
Like,
Yeah.
hey Jimmy, you got some good. I heard your family's looking for a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's
I
it
heard
falling
you,
apart?
I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
you're moving teams.
Yeah.
You might want to move a
We're
different
gonna
house.
talk about your sprints, but let's
Yeah.
talk about what bedroom size you looking
Did
for.
your parents turn in that pre-qualifying later? Get it to them.
Can you speak on anything else that's kind of like helped you personally with, like as far as
Track?
like coaching? Yeah, track, and also because you come from track.
Yeah.
We had a coach, Coach
I've,
Rico on here.
I've actually held his sprinter boards before.
On blocks.
Your blocks, yeah.
I don't know what that
Do you?
is.
I don't know if you're the one that.
It's where we were like we weren't even friends. He was like, "Hey, you, can you hold my blocks real quick?"
Hey, was I running for Moline or Joliet?
You were running for Joliet, and I think I helped you again at Moline, but then
No. So this is amazing. This is a great story.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know, but when I ran a track at Joliet West, I was a 400-meter runner.
Yeah.
I hated the fucking 400, dude. But the
Yeah.
coach always put me on it because he kept his football players to be like the elite kind of sprinters.
Mm-hmm.
I always knew I was fast, man. I mean, he just never gave me a chance. He just wanted, you know, his elite stars to be part of that.
Yeah.
So when I transferred to Moline, I connected with the head coach there, and he's a great guy, man. He's not only a coach but a friend. I told him, I'm like, I'm a sprinter. All right, you're a sprinter. So he allowed me to be a sprinter. Our first indoor meet, we actually came back to Joliet West, and I beat everyone. I got third place. I lost to Carl Sandberg and someone else on like the 200.
Mm-hmm.
She was incredible. Like it was just like I saw the Joliet West coach.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, see, told you I was fast.
Yeah.
Goofy ass, like whole time. So it was just it was great, man, because it was just I'm never gonna forget it.
Yeah.
But that still made you. I mean, it's moments like that where we talk about like how it built your character to what you are now, because it wasn't like a sense of like I'm doing it in spite, but more so I'm proving to not only them but myself that I am like I can do that.
Right. I mean, track. It didn't teach me a lot, but just going through it, it's an individual sport, and only you can push yourself that much harder to win. And that's exactly how life is. From like the starting off, you know, the anxiety you get, like, I don't want to jump in, I don't want to do this, to when you hear the gun go and you're just blasting off.
Right.
That's it. Like, it's just, it reflects with life so commonly. I think that's why I have such a strong initiative. Just because, I don't know, I've been fast.
Does that still like a part of your like health lifestyle too? Like
work-
healthy lifestyle outside of work, like as far as like working out and such.
Oh yeah,
like
I work out probably 5 times a week.
Yeah.
If that. I eat really healthy, because my grandma lives with me. Well, I take care of my grandma, so usually we share a similar diet. Yeah, I mean, I'm physically healthy, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, and I just want to continue kind of just emphasizing on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
All right, personally, man, what do you because I want to go back into like as far as like certain literature that you get into as far as inspiration. I know obviously you had the book, but it's something that I still want to talk to you about, like who inspires you now. Like obviously you yourself probably inspires yourself,
Right.
but like what kind of, other than books, what do you kind of listen to right now, and who are you kind of like following individuals, like as far as like investors or like a Gary Vee type person? Who do you draw inspiration from?
Right now it's Ryan Serhant. He's the top realtor in New York, and he's one of the best in the world. I like following his story, man. He's very engaging. He's very welcoming with kind of his tips. He's extremely professional. It's like I think if I continue kind of including him as part of my kind of schedule and just education, I think he's added a lot of value just to my schedule as it is, just listening to his Audible books or watching his YouTube videos, just picking up tips, and I'm going to continue doing that in real estate.
Okay.
Let's see. Spiritually, I don't know, my grandma.
Yeah.
I appreciate my grandma just because you're right. I've kind of exercised it enough where I can push myself and I can make it through by myself, but that's not enough. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do need that companionship, and that's something I think as my life continues, hopefully I will encounter at some point. I'm not really worried about it. But my grandma offers that companionship where I talk to her. She doesn't really understand shit,
Yeah.
but I talk to her and she listens, and she genuinely wants to learn. She wants to know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's my dependent.
Now, as far as like do you have something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think, like in the stage right now of having her around, she's adding like the patience that you need in this part of your life that you typically maybe wouldn't have had if she wasn't there?
Absolutely, man. Like, when I graduated school, I was all over the place. Like, I was just, my mind just 100,000 miles an hour, you know what I'm saying? And when you have such a kind of progressive agenda, there's a lot of things you miss personally. There's a lot of things you kind of miss the value from.
Yeah.
So me not only relocating this to you know, a region that's a little bit slower paced, but living with my grandma, it's given me the opportunity to really be kind of grateful and appreciate kind of the lineage of what is my family. I mean, we don't have a bond necessarily because, I mean, 3 years ago, we weren't really close or anything. But
Yeah.
just being with her and knowing that I am all she has and she is all I have,
Mm-hmm.
it's powerful. You know, it makes me think a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Also, with everything being kind of like in a rush, I guess, with your life kind of always in a constant move, that moment where you just stop and you kind of concentrate on her and you talk to her and everything like that, it kind of slows you down. It
it
maybe,
grounds me.
yeah.
It really does, and it clears my head. It's been a good change of pace. I think that's why now I'm more patient. That's why I'm more professional. I'm able to think more, take my steps more kind of effectively rather than just take a sprint.
Yeah. I could see it. I've even in conversations that we've had, I can tell, like, talking even with you now, your sense of thought is a little more thoughtful than it originally was. You know what I mean? I feel like you were always a little bit too, like, you spoke your mind but very openly without adding more, just that extra few seconds to just sink
honestly,
it in.
man,
You know?
to anybody watching, I'm sorry if I was ever like an asshole. But yeah, you're right, man. I've always been the guy to speak his mind, to just be bold.
Yeah.
And something I've learned is that sometimes that's just not necessary. For one,
Yeah.
it's a waste of energy. For two, and it's like, what the fuck am I trying to prove?
Yeah.
So I just, like, I've been able to ground myself more,
Yeah.
effectively transition my thoughts a little bit better, and just plan accordingly. I mean, that's pretty much it. And it was thanks to her. You're right.
Yeah.
She's made me more patient.
Yeah.
Like, there's times I've been wanting to just, you know, it's hard living with a 92-year-old. It's certain complications.
Yeah.
But like I said, a big part of me is this last year and continuing forward is energy. I just want to, I don't want any negative energy. I don't want to stress out. I don't want to frustrate myself. So me being with my grandma, that was the ultimate test. Cause obviously, you know, she doesn't hear for shit.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember a lot of things. So it's like, it's very frustrating. Someone that's 24 trying to set up these systems and expecting that old elderly person to be able to stay aligned with the systems. And the second she doesn't, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
So it's hard. You can't yell at a 92-year-old, you know, she's not going to learn.
Yeah.
So instead, now I just ground myself. I tell myself, you know what? It's okay. It's perfectly fine. I'll handle it.
Yeah.
There's no reason I need to get worked up. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you talked about, obviously, one right now, you
can relate a little bit to that too with you having Benji.
it's like a total opposite. Like a
It's
4-month-year-old and a
complete opposite.
92-year-old.
Yeah.
No, but it's very similar in a
Yeah.
lot of ways of, I mean, like I said, it's different in the sense of Benji. He's going to grow up. He's going to continue learning.
Yeah.
I get the opposite. My grandma continues deteriorating. So a year ago from now, she could prepare her own plate. She could handle the TV by herself. She wasn't as dependent with kind of hygiene and getting her prepared and whatnot. She didn't sleep nearly as much. But these are things that are normal with someone that ages. You know, 6 months for someone that's 90 is extremely significant. So now it's like, that's another just thing on its own that I've been trying to plan for. When is it going to be too much for me?
Yeah.
You know, like, when is it going to kind of start affecting my health and happiness and her health and happiness?
Yeah.
Because I'm doing everything I'm doing individually, and then I have her. So it's like I'm trying to go 100 miles an hour with what I got going on, but then when I kind of encounter her, I have to completely slow it down. And that's something I'm juggling, and I'm trying to figure out what's the best solution.
Yeah, it's a huge, even with having a kid, it's a huge sense of like rearranging your time management to being able to say like, okay, I can't just, it's scheduling is like a bigger factor into my life
have to.
than anything else. Like a lot of people say with kids, it's like always like, oh, it's so much money. It's not really. It's time management.
It's time.
It's like the ability to say, okay, where is this individual going to be? Because I need to make sure these things are taken care of, blah, blah, blah. And I need to have time management is the biggest thing ever right now.
Yeah.
Especially for you too as well. That's what I was saying right before this too. I was going to jump into it is that, I always see on videos, like you were saying too, obviously with your grandma being older and you kind of having to adjust your lifestyle to be able to like obviously assist her and such, and then also with your life kind of continuing to go, and your ability where you don't want it to hinder your ability to strive for that impact for this next year, like that being your main goal of that your term for this year. Do you kind of set certain habits for yourself every day, and can you kind of elaborate on those habits, like certain things that you kind of do on a daily basis, that whether it's health, whether it's spiritually like meditation, whatever it may be? You said you want to do jiu-jitsu, certain things that you want to do not only daily but maybe weekly that you want to achieve, that I think maybe someone might be listening and benefit from.
Here's where it gets complicated though with someone in my industry. My schedule is extremely volatile, so I have a core schedule behind the schedule that I expect to have tomorrow. So, which is waking up, stretching for sure, eating breakfast, doing prospecting. There's just certain things I have in place that are, these time slots are locked in. Gym, but I have to leave open slots because, people call all the time like, hey, I want to see this house, or hey, can I see this house now? I have to be available. I have to figure out a way to work him in so he can be my client. Because there's hundreds of realtors. If I'm not available, what he's going to do is he's going to call the next one.
Yeah.
So it's such a volatile schedule, but I have to keep my core behind it, where you're right, I do meditate. I go to the gym pretty commonly. Twice a day, I have to come back home to help my grandma and set up the food and make sure she's showered. So through the morning, it's a little bit more than at night. But yeah, I have like a behind the scenes schedule that's every single day of the week. And then I have my like realtor schedule, where it's my meetings, my team meetings, showings, listings, education, prospecting. I have a full ass schedule, man.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously those habits are kind of put into place to
just keep me sane.
Yeah.
To further my education, my self-awareness. Audiobook is another one. I like to listen to different audiobooks. There's different ways to ground yourself, and I have to constantly ground myself in order for me to be effective with my day.
Yeah. So with you and Sab kind of have like that same mentality. I've been around only a few individuals that are constantly like their mind is always running. It's always grinding gears, like working on the next idea, or if you have an idea, they're going to work to try to make it like feasible or whatever it is.
Sometimes I'll text Lou ideas just so they're on paper and they're out of my head. You know what I mean? That's a lot of times. I'll text some ideas at the randomest times of the day, but I just need them out or I'll forget about them.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. And I'm more grounded. I'm more like, all right, it's probably going to take like 6 months
practical
to do this. So we got to plan it. It can't be just like, we need to get Drake on this show, like certain things like that. But, obviously there's individuals that deal with it. You may not deal with it, but how do you deal with personally, like laziness, or procrastination, I guess?
I'm a huge procrastinator, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've always been a procrastinator, and there's a couple books that I've read that kind of focus on like why procrastinating is the key to creativity. However, it's like the Achilles heel to efficiency. So it's like you should balance it. But with someone like me that's schedule's so volatile, it's like a lot of the things I end up procrastinating just because it ends up just being put at the bottom of the list. But I get it done right before I need to get it done. It's just that's just part of my system. You know what I mean? I don't need to get to it right now because I have so much other stuff that I need to figure out. But I know the timeline for this is this time, and I'll have it done before then. So that's what I do with procrastinating. I strategically procrastinate, if that's a thing. And for laziness, I just think laziness is all mental, man. It's like Ryan Certain has this huge thing where it's like 1, 2, or ready, set, go. Just ready, set, go. Do it. Like say you've never swam before. ready, set, go, jump in. And
Yeah.
that's with anything. Like, you just got to get in there and do it. Like, don't question it. Don't just jump in. I don't know if you guys ever been off a diving board, but
No, I haven't.
it's terrifying for the first
You've
time.
never been on a diving board?
Wow, bro. I'm
So think about
sorry.
it. Think about it. Jump off the diving board. You'll be okay. Hopefully
No, I'm pretty sure it's fine. I've never legitimately seen like a diving board. Like, I mean, like a small one, yeah. But I'm talking
I
about
mean,
like,
like 16
you
feet
mean-
high or
oh,
20 feet
yeah.
high.
I mean,
Okay.
at the local like pool, they doesn't have a
Okay.
diving board.
I forgot we're enjoying it.
I'm not exactly going to like the a 20-foot pool.
Olympic
Yeah,
styles.
jumping off of it. Ready, set, go, and just jump off.
You might
I
break a
mean,
few bones on
I might
impact.
even-
You know?
But think of it, that's terrifying for someone that's never been off like a 16. Even myself now, I've done it a couple times, but I'll still look down like, fuck, man.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Do the walk off. You can't really.
No, you
jump.
can't. There's a line.
My biggest fear is like if I jump that first hop and I mess up the second hop. That's my biggest fear. That's why I don't really go that hard on the.
Or you're that one guy that's just like,
Yeah, I do more of a run, one jump off.
just you don't even use the actual concept of the diving board.
I don't do the extra hop. Sometimes
walk it off.
Isn't it like your fear of slipping?
Yeah, or just like you don't use the momentum the right way, and then you do like a weird jerk off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like where you do like clack and you're off.
Paralyzed.
Yeah, like
That's the worst.
I don't want
case
people seeing me like that, man. I'll just cool with a cannonball.
I mean, but yeah, you were saying like, have you ever done it? I've never done it. I've seen even like cliff diving. That's scary.
I would
That's
love to
crazy.
do that. Like I
But
love I haven't done skydiving yet, but I've done bungee jumping. I love that thrill. That like you're
Skydiving, I
gonna
wanna do.
you'll make it.
We
You're
should
gonna make it.
skydive together.
I'd love to. The main reason I have is like sky.
Let's do it
around
where I'm
here.
strapped to you.
I'm gonna still be in the
If we
plane.
die,
You're
it's
gonna-
it's like on you.
You're
you
gonna
know
be
what I mean?
freaking out. I'm not gonna pull it. I'm like, bro, this is a test.
Yeah.
Whole time I don't even know.
Just fill out these papers. No, bro, I wouldn't. I don't think I could ever do skydiving. I mean, I
Really?
could do skydiving, but there's certain things like, yeah, it is exciting and it's something that I would want to do. But then as I get older, I'm like, do I really need to do it? Like, I mean, it's not really like.
But you have a kid. You know,
Yeah,
so
but even before the kid, man, I would take the kid with me. It don't even matter. Like he has his own little
But
parachute.
what if the guy's like, I've jumped 1,000 times.
No,
Like,
it's not even the fear.
Yeah.
It's not even the fear of like, because it is. It's like statistically, you're gonna make it. Like statistically, I'm going up there knowing like I'm gonna be fine.
yeah.
It's gonna be scary. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be fine. But it's just kind of like that one thing where it's like, it's not too high up on my list where it's like this is something I kind of need to achieve. Rather than there's individuals that seek those thrills,
right.
that they need to get that itch. You know.
Oh man, it's just the thrill, the adrenaline. I can't explain it enough. It's awesome. It's what being alive is supposed to be. When you're that close to death, but you're alive. I'm just crazy in that sense. Sorry.
I mean, it's good though. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I mean. That kind of goes against when you're talking about procrastinating. Essentially, what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you like to live under pressure.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where like I like to strategically plan certain things out, and then sometimes we'll have something where it'd be so like I need this, Lou, and we'll do something, and I'm like I gotta figure out how to do that in like a week. Most
Right.
people have like months, so it like I like it. It gives me this thrill of like, can we achieve it? Like with
Right.
throwing events, like it's you never know if it's gonna. He's laughing because it's like we've had those horrible nights.
I'm the positive optimistic, you know what I mean? Where it's like it's gonna work out, you know what I mean? Or like if we're on a time crunch, it's good, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I like how you were saying about failure. It's almost like I kind of indirectly do that sometimes between
You
us.
purposely set up
Oh.
a failure just so you can you lose pissed as
Yeah,
fuck.
Yeah, it's not even that I don't think it's gonna work. Like I could be optimistic, but it's more so like I know we're not gonna die from this event
Yeah.
not being successful. But it's also like I'm gonna struggle to get back on my feet after certain things like
I mean,
that.
it's good in that sense that you guys kind of counterbalance each other.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because at the end of the day, it should be a balance. Like me with if I procrastinated everything, like if I didn't have a set schedule, I'd lose my shit. Like if I
Yeah.
depended on just phone calls every day and setting up my schedule, I wouldn't be sustainable.
Yeah.
So you have to counterbalance it.
Mm.
Just me as a person, I'm edgy as shit, dude. Like I don't know. I like the pressure.
Yeah.
Like, I love the pressure. I think I perform better under pressure. I'm more natural. It's just what I'm used to.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's kind of that thing though. That's what you were saying, that especially in your current, I would say, because obviously you have ambitions to be several other things, and I'm excited to see what you will be like in the next, by this time next year. Obviously with what this kind of
Or
like
10 years.
this stride you're going for. But I mean, within 6 months, look at the success you've had. So I could say reasonably in a year, I could see you doing something even bigger and grander.
Right.
But I mean, with your procrastinating, it's kind of like weird because you're in a field in which you have to be proactive
all the time.
Yeah, you
all
have
the
you have to
time.
be proactive, especially like I said, to sustain your business and get business. However, when there's a deal going through, I mean, even if I wanted to, I don't know, plan everything, there's so many moving pieces.
Yeah.
In a deal. You know, it's like the buyer's agent, the listing agent, the lender, the inspections. Like, there's so many moving pieces where it'd be impossible for me to kind of try to organize all it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just gotta let shit flow, man.
Yeah. Do you have a really, really bad experience that you can speak on? I don't give anything personal. But
I mean, the thing I could just say most is like being a realtor there's a wide spectrum. You know, that's why when I introduce myself, I like to introduce myself as a professional realtor because I know that is my career. I know I am going to be better, and I want to be the best, essentially. But then you have other realtors that are like, I don't know, stay-at-home moms that part-time, you know, they just want to do it just to kind of do something with their free time, which is perfectly fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to do, you know, a couple deals a year, it's perfectly fine. But there's such a wide range of realtors. Like, it's
yeah. And that's where you kind of like address yourself in the way to separate yourself.
Yeah, I have to.
What is a successful month for realtors?
Well, essentially, right now we're supposed to be in the slow months, and honestly, it hasn't been slow.
No.
So I don't know.
You said I can't relate to y'all.
It's hard because a lot of things are just.
I don't know how y'all eating.
A lot of the stuff is like I haven't been through it yet.
Yeah.
You know, like seasonal. Like they'll ask me, so how's the market supposed to be in the spring? I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna pick up.
We eating over here. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, I'm stay eating.
I answered 3 deals while we were on this podcast. Like, you
Bro,
over
my
here like
phone's
that.
been blowing up.
Yeah.
That's why I had to tuck it in. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck?
I heard the vibrating, but that's good.
Yeah, because
I
I'm
mean,
connected to Zillow as a team, you know, so we all.
Bro,
get
they
that
don't
team
stop with the
line.
emails.
What?
Zillow. I had to delete the app, bro.
Yeah?
Oh, because you're looking for the apartment, right?
Yeah, when I was looking for apartments, man, they just don't stop.
I'll tell you this. I'm gonna end up working for Zillow at some point.
I hope you do.
If that's no, I'm saying Zillow's gonna rule the real estate world, man.
Yeah.
Like, just keep in mind.
What makes them stand out from the other apps?
Oh, they're number one. Like anybody that's if they want to sell their home, they're gonna go to Zillow. Like,
That's what I
Zillow
use.
is so dominant within the industry, and they're continuously vertically integrating themselves from like outsourcing services. Like right now, a huge priority for our team is to maintain a good Zillow rate and a good badge.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
a
almost like
huge-
Yelp,
It's
right?
it's more than Yelp. It's more. It's if our presence wasn't on Zillow, I'm convinced that we would drastically be kind of less than what we are now.
Yeah.
Drastically.
It is your business front.
Yeah,
It is
it's where it
legitimately your
starts.
face.
I made a tweet because I read something. I'm pull it up, but it was about Amazon getting into real estate, and I thought that was pretty crazy.
I think I saw Amazon's getting into, like, in regards to lending. I think that's what I saw, mortgage lending.
Yeah, probably. They probably try to get in everything.
Amazon, Apple, they're all
Yeah.
gonna rule the world.
I used Zillow when I was looking at it. That was the thing too as well. You do notice that the accessibility, like before, it was back in, like, as far as from my knowledge, it was something where you were so way more dependent on the realtor and on their behind the scenes reports and all this kind of stuff on when houses go on there, what are they listing, property taxes. When you go to Zillow,
Right.
and you can go to you become a little bit more savvy in the conversation. So now that changes the dialogue between the realtor and the actual seller or buyer, because you approach it in a sense of like, I've actually been able to get and obtain and absorb like legitimate information on this home. I know the past history, and I didn't necessarily need you, but I need you to confirm it. I need you to be able to kind of take those steps for me and do this further. I noticed that, at least.
Honestly, my relationship with Zillow, it's like a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's there and we need a presence, but I hate people calling me and they're like, Zillow said my home's worth this much.
Uh-huh.
All right, well, let me tell you why your home isn't worth that much. You know, that's where it comes a little bit stressful for me. But Zillow's gonna rule the world, man. Or in regards to real estate, they're really tapping into this thing called an iBuyer, where they are eliminating a buyer's agent. They're essentially coming, say you want to move somewhere, right? They'll come and they'll make like an instant offer on your home. It's just, you don't even need a buyer's agent. They'll buy the home from you. You know, you don't need to acquire a buyer for your home. They'll buy it for you. And that's why my team's been extremely successful, because not only has my team lead done an excellent job at being able to market ourselves and billboards, radio, Barbara Corcoran endorsed us as well. But he's kind of the first guy in our area that started like the instant offer, we'll make an instant offer on your home. So you can just start moving. You don't have to worry about it. And essentially these programs are what's gotten our team kind of established and our foot in the door, because that's all it becomes.
Don't you feel that's just flipping on a larger scale?
It is. It can be. I mean, the house has to meet certain requirements. So our billboards say, you know, you'll get an instant offer within 48 hours or whatever.
Right.
But it has to meet certain requirements.
And is it flipping in the sense of we're not going to flip your house and necessarily put money into it. It's just we're flipping it because we have the leverage on the people that are looking for houses.
It's a perfect place to be at. And I think that's why my team lead has been able to be so successful.
Yeah.
Because we get first look at these properties. You know what I'm saying? So if we see a house and we make an instant offer, because every situation is different, but say this seller has to go. He just has to get his house sold. So we give him an instant offer. He qualified for it. We buy his home. We don't even have to list it. We already have a handful of investors that we know want this house to flip. So we'll just sell it for wholesale price, and then they'll come in and do everything. So you're the middleman, and it's just the perfect spot to be at.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's wild.
It's like, it's a win-win. That's why I like what I do.
I love the game. Like the
I love it.
What is that?
from what movie is that? Where he's like, I love the game. I love the hustle. And paid in full.
No, I don't know.
Bro, when he's sitting with his boy and he's like about to do some crazy.
You're not giving to me, man.
That's what I'm
gonna
gonna pull up.
You don't get it.
Pull up the clip in the podcast. You'll understand. It's classic.
Okay, man. So I think that's probably pretty. What are we on our time right now?
Around an hour.
Cool. No, man, but I appreciate you stopping by. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. I in that camera right there, just go ahead and say as far as like your name again and where people can find you, especially obviously if they're looking for home and such things like that, like where they can find you and where they can actually communicate with you best.
Once again, guys, thank you guys for watching. My name is Andy. I am a realtor in the Quad City area, but if you have absolutely any questions in regards to buying, selling, relocating, investing, you want to be a realtor, you could reach me at, I don't know what the fuck my shit is.
I'll put it up.
He'll put it up.
Yeah,
your Instagram and Facebook, that'd be great. So yeah, reach me at whatever he puts up.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys. Sab, you want to sign out?
Yep. And this has been another episode of Radio Rejekts podcast. Thank y'all.
Peace. Thank you.